All right, hey, good afternoon, everybody. It is February 18th, and so I did a little dip in the dark pool, like I tweeted yesterday, and which leads to the reason why I'm even doing this. But it appears there was a lot of interest in what I found and how and the why. So I thought I'd go ahead and make a quick little video and show you this. So please do also be aware that I'm not going to go through like a bunch of scans, or when I say scans, I mean like individual ticker scans. But what I am going to do is go ahead and show y'all where I saw the selling and the Qs, the SPYs, and the diamonds, how I'm seeing buying in real estate, healthcare, energy, and it looks like selling in XLK, SMH, SLC, and XLI. And I'll also explain why it all kind of like makes sense. And as far as why I'm also kind of looking at this to be the point of a pullback and then look to get back in. So also be fully aware before everyone starts saying it, I am not calling the top here. I am simply just saying, maybe some profit taking is going to come in. The market's going to digest the recent price action that has unfolded, and then we'll see from there. But at the moment, it does look like selling is happening in those areas, and then all you have to do is wait for the buying to come back in. But I'll go ahead and get started. All right, so first off, let's check out the SPY, right? So the SPYs, the Qs, and the diamonds, really the indexes first. So I'm going to go ahead and head on over to the 1 hour time frame here, maximize my sell, and then I'm also going to pull this up. All right, so this brings up all my larger dark pool, um, late prints, if you will. Okay, so what exactly does this mean first? First off, anything greater than 10 million late prints is usually what I look for if you get a few days in a row, when you get at least somewhat of a correction to come in. And by correction, I mean just a pullback, buy or step back in, and you write it, the overall trend back with it. This just helps you know when the pullback is unfolding. So all that being said, actually, let me go ahead and turn this off. So get rid of the lines for me as far as the swing levels. Okay, so I'm going to take a step back. What you see on here, anything that is close to 10 million late prints, I have a dotted thicker line, and if it's just less than 10 million, it's just a straight line. And so the way this all works, as of late, right, there was some 10 million, like 10.3 here, and caused the rally up, some more came in, and then you see we keep on just stair stepping higher. All right, so that's cool. So what now? Like, why is that? How can that help you now, and why do I think that is potentially the area for the pullback? All right, and so going on with that, so here was the CPI number that came in, right? And then on that, the day prior, they were selling at 586. There was 9.3, so close to 10 million. Not a whole lot. So I wasn't overly concerned about. We got the flush lower, and it came back down to this where this 12.3 and this other print was at, and then boom, rallied back up. We retested the zone, and we're right back below it. There hasn't been heavy prints, more heavy ones coming in yet. For all I know, they were hitting the tape, or they're going to hit the tape on Tuesday. But at the moment, I do know that we're getting stuck below this level. And so that leads me to think, okay, well, if we're getting stuck below this level, then maybe prepare more for a pullback. So that's the SPY, right? It's really just because this greater or close to 10 million print is we're getting stuck at it and can't really stay above it. So that's just one. And the other one that is really driving it to really thinking about it, or that is going to happen, is the Qs. The Qs had, so anything greater than 4 million is worth paying attention to in the Qs, right? But they're getting hit with more. So like I said on the SPY, oops, that's not the right number. 10 million late prints. And that's share size, right, for the price. 10 million, multiple days. I like to look for anywhere about 2 to 3 days. And that's for the SPY. All right, but this is the Qs. So it's the same, anywhere from 2 to 3 days of greater than 4 million. All right, cool. So here is the CPI date. we got the gap down, came back down to this level down here. We rallied up, and look, we have 1, and then we got below it, and then 2. So there's 1, and that's 2 days so far. And so it looks like a boom, flush, making a lower high with more prints coming in, and it looks like the move potentially wants to go lower from here. And I could actually bring this over. My handy dandy black box stocks. If any of you folks from black box stocks are watching this, let me know what you think about how I'm handling y'all scanner. Really do enjoy using it. Shout out to you guys. I really do like using y'all's scanner. All right. But let's head on over here. I'm going to go to the Qs, and I'm just going to go to, which is just do all of last week. All right. So here we are. So first off, we need to find the late prints. And the reason I'm looking for this is because I want to show you how to identify these late prints. So here is one right here. Okay. So how do I know it is one? Well, really because it has 206,000 shares, because they have the same share size over and over, and it's the same price over and over, and they just come in throughout the day. And so the Qs have been getting a lot of them. So what exactly does this mean? I want to zoom in on this. Okay. And so as far as the 16th goes, 206 is 434.47. So that is up here. So how exactly does this work? So what happens is the rules of, as far as my knowledge goes, there may be more, but it's not like it's completely open source. But from my training of the dark pools and my knowledge of the dark pools is, okay, so if there is an institution that is overseas, and we'll say London, Paris, wherever, you have 24 hours to report your trade after your position has been transacted, after it's filled. So what does that mean? So like if I say I have 20 million shares I want to sell, once all 20 million shares have been filled on selling for the price I want, then I have 24 hours to report it. If the institution is stateside, meaning it is in the United States of America, on the actual continent of the United States, then they have 3 hours to report it. And there's always whatever institution doing the same thing over and over and selling them. So like I mentioned here, this happened on the 16th, and then this is the 16th right here, this block right here, right? And that is what this little black box stock says. Really cool thing. It's this volume profile, but it's for the dark pool, which is really handy if you ask me. So I want to draw a line across to the prior day. So it looks like they were selling right here, and then they're going to report it the next day. So therefore, I start hitting the tape here. So you really have to ask yourself. You see how like it shows that it's coming through on the 16th. Well, not that one, but this one right here on the 16th. Well, they're coming in all day when price is down here. So how is someone getting filled up here, right? If the price is down here, it's because they were selling it right here, and they're having 24 hours to report it into the next day. And then that price action gets put into the market, and then that's when you get moves out of nowhere and so on and so forth. But maybe I'll do a little bit more detailed explanation of that. Like I said, the goal of this, I just want to show y'all where I'm seeing the selling and where I'm seeing the buying as far as the dark pool goes. And I'll also show you a few other things that really supports this idea. And then I'm not, like I said, I'm not calling the top. It's more of like, hey, have some hedges on, at least trail your stops and things like that. All right, so there was the Qs. So the Qs are having some coming in quite a bit, and the Qs are what I'm thinking may drive the market. That's one reason why so the SPY only had one. The Qs have had two. And the diamonds, when they get one, it's actually pretty rare. The diamonds getting signature prints is a rare event, and usually when the diamonds get them, the move definitely does come. And so if that is the case, it's worth noting and being ready to trade it. So here's another one on the diamonds. There's two right here. Sorry, three. and that is very rare. And you see it happened right here. And therefore, that is basically just saying, hey, it's only one day, but like I said, the diamonds don't get a whole lot, but nonetheless, we're below it. So therefore, those three indexes look like that the market potentially is getting ready to pull back. Now, another thing to acknowledge on all of this is like we all know the market is extended. We know that the skew says that a pullback should happen, just a little bit of a reset. And we're also going into seasonality. So here is from Equity Clock. Equity Clock, it's a very, as far as I know, I've known this charting or this website for, I don't know, 10 years or so. But they take the data, see right here, the last 20 years. It takes its seasonality for the last 20 years, and then you can kind of get a game plan for the seasonality, how things are going to work. So you see, look, we spiked up right up into OPEX right there. We get a pullback into February. We base sideways, and then we start back up. All right, cool. So we rallied up. We're really right here. All right, cool. And this is S&P. All of them look the same. Almost all the sectors look the same, almost. So this is almost everything across the board. We have a peak, and look, we also have the dark pool prints. We have the skew. We have extensions. Like everything is looking like a pullback is warranted. Just a lot of stars are lined up. So there's that, right? And then so looking for those pullbacks in the indexes, all because of these late prints. Is that one? I don't have them drawn on that one, but like I said, so I said the SPY, the Qs, and the IWM didn't really. The IWM wasn't clear as far as if it was going to be heavy selling, and I won't say heavy selling, but selling enough for the price to go down. I say heavy, and it sounds like I'm saying the market's going to crash. No, I mean like to start the pullback. And there were a few phantom prints and stuff that came in, or whatever kind of print you want to call it, depends whatever how you learn to trade it and whatnot, but they're all pointing lower as well. So there's a lot of ways to look at this for potential price action to go lower. Now, another thing I talked about the let me get that out of the way, sorry. All right, so we'll look at those sectors. All right, so those are the indexes that have me thinking that the market wants to pull back. So also the market is, or there's always money being put to work somewhere, right? And so first off, let's just go over the selling. All right, so like XLK. Make sure I have the window I'm looking for here. I'm just going to do for the entire month of February. And I'll show you this. All right, and the way to look at this is like I'm just going to zoom out a little bit. Got my hourly chart, and this is kind of like how I skim through this. Okay, so XLK. This is going to the 15th. But I will also note, little caveat noting here, is the 16th was OPEX. OPEX causes a lot of, because, ebb and flows, of like, there's a lot of options expiring, money moving around, so it can make reading the tape a little bit tricky. But a lot of this is happening beforehand as well. So like, here's the 15th, 14th, 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 13th, right? So it's long before OPEX. Look, the market rallied higher. And look, okay. And I also look at percentage of its average 30-day volume. I don't really care about the share size per se. It's not like, oh, it's 100,000 share per. I'm going to go look at it. No, it's more of like, what is it correlated to how the individual stock's volume profile is. And so right here, there's like a 1.7, 1.5, 2.4, 2, 2.3, 2.6. And a lot of this doesn't usually happen in ETFs. Usually it's definitely not that heavy. You can see there's like almost nothing this whole way up, like all the way up here, but all of a sudden we're getting activity up here. And the main thing you really have to pay attention to is like, okay, are we above the price of, above these prices, or are we below them? So look, 2 at 204, another 1.5 at 204, 2.5 at 204. And you just see it just keeps on coming in. And then what you can note is we are literally below every single bit of them. And the longest little profile bar up here is at the top. So therefore, you can assume this is selling in the technology sector in XLK. Then we'll move on forward a little bit more. Let's go to SMH. All right, SMH. We're getting a bunch of activity up here as well. And then you can see these volume bars. We're still kind of above them, these bigger ones. So you don't exactly have to, run for the hills. Like, oh my gosh, I'm going to get out, it's falling. It's just more of like if the indexes are going to go, most of the sectors are going to go, and then so on and so forth. But you can see this one is also getting some print levels up here at, so we have 203, 201, 198, we're still above. But if these maybe do like a double take and we take out 200, then, potentially a pullback in SMH. All right, XLC. This is like your Netflixes and Metas or Facebook, things like that. Same thing. So we've come up to the top and we're starting to pull back to these profile zones, and the same thing. Almost 3% there, look, a whopping 8%, 3.4%, and 2.4. And all that being said, and the reason I point these out, so you notice you pay attention to the percentage amount, and then you correlate it to price. And we are starting to get out of these positions. And also, it's not just one order gets submitted, then you get flush below it. It's like they scale out. Institutions scale out. They don't want to completely shake everything out. So all that being said, it looks like potential selling in these sectors as well, as prices potentially moving, or as prices potentially moving lower. And then, actually, you know what? Let me show y'all an example here. It was on. I'm going to go back to XLK. I'm going to show y'all an example of like why this matters before we head over to the industrials. All right, so I want to pull this up. Let me pull up XLK. Let me find the exact date. So I remember I was watching the tape, and I was like, all right. I was watching the tape, and I saw a huge print run across XLK, and that was actually the bottom. What day? There it is. This candle right here. So October 13th. So I just want to prove it to you. Like, how did I know that this is potentially the bottom? So October 13th, I believe, I really don't know, but we're going to try. Can this go that far? And actually, now I have to check what year was that, 2022? Yep. Okay. No, there we go. Sorry. A little bit of a delay there. October 22. 13th. And we'll just go to the 14th. Bam. Let's do it. I'm going to show you why this is important. Okay. All right, so there it is. Can y'all spot where the big institution transaction occurred? Right there at 30%. See, that was 30% of the ETF's average daily volume for the last 30 days, right? That's a huge transaction. And I remember seeing that come across. I was like, oh man, that's a heck of a print right here. And then you can see, like, I'm gonna zoom out. Look, that was the bottom. That's how this is important to track, Institutions know when they want to put in the bottom. And if you could kind of follow them along, there you go. Look, that was the bottom. You could have gotten long right here, stop the lows, and look, we have never even looked back. But that's how that's important. That happened October of 2022. I remember watching that hit the tape, and it hasn't turned back since then. So there's that. That's why it's important, why I pay attention to the amount of percentage. I just wanted to point that out. So that's XLK. I'm going to go ahead and fix this real quick. Can I just type here? Okay, I can. Oh, man. There, that works for me. All right, so I'm just looking at these from the month of February. All right, so that's XLK. And if that made sense, let me know in the comments of this video that it made sense. And if it did not make sense, please ask questions. Like I am coming into this kind of not really, I would say fully prepared. I'm almost like slinging it. I mean, this isn't like some formal class or anything. It's a quick rundown, but I'm trying to show you how I'm identifying these levels and proving to you that it looks like selling is happening here. And then after that, I'll show you where the buying's at. All right, so XLI industrials, right? So 1.6, look, a whopping 7. All right, oh, 1.5, 3, a few cancellations, 3.6. And the reason it's all important is, so look, all these big prints are coming in, and we're closing below them. And so it's almost, well, not these 16s yet. We haven't quite got that level. But the most recent ones, these larger ones, especially that 7 or a 6, about 6.5%, and then the 3% there up here at 17-ish. I mean, that's pretty large. That's large enough to at least think for a pullback it's going to come down to about 1650-ish, this little zone. And when you look, you just wait for the buying to come back in, and then you look to ride that train back up. But you can see that there's a decent amount of selling, like I said, and a lot of these prints usually just only have like 0.5%. It's not very common that ETFs get multiple 1% greater prints. And not to mention that there's several phantom prints and stuff like that coming in too. All right, so that's the selling. So if the selling is there, where's the buying? All right, I've noticed some buying coming into XLRE, and there's a few good tickers on that as well. If you're part of the simpler trading community, I am actually in charge of doing the weekly watch list this week, so I'll cover those there as well. But I'm not going to be doing that here, but I do want to show you how I'm seeing the selling. Oh, right here, so XLRE, let's make sure these dates are correct, okay. And then, whoops, okay, so look, 37, basically 3760, 3777, so on and so forth. Like that's a really large print at 28%, right? You remember that XLK print, right? Let's go ahead and take like a bigger step here. Let's take a bigger look here. XLRE. There's actually a really good XLRE, um, uh, really good XLRE ticker that is looking pretty decent in my opinion. So here's XLRE, the ETF. Look, we came to the top. Looks like we've come back down for a retest, and that big 37%, right, is all the way down here. All right, 30s, or sorry, almost 30% is at 37.77. 37.77, about right here. We'll just do this. 37.77. Put, it was about 29-ish, like you have to round it. It doesn't have to be so precise. Bam, right there. That is a large print occurring on this little dip down to the weekly 50-day SMA. Looks like support is holding. So if this is indeed buying coming here, I think the move higher looks great. And here, I'll throw y'all, for all of you for actually watching this, I'll give y'all a little bone here. Here's one I'm watching for XLRE. This one also has a lot of dark pool activity coming into it. So if XLRE is looking good, weekly time frame, we did a break, pullback, held support. And over here on the daily time frame, we pull back to the daily 50. We're holding. If prints are coming in XLRE, I'm betting this wants to break out above 135 and at least make a run up to it. Look, it looks like there's resistance up here, about basically we call 140 a first target. It's a pretty good little run. But anyways, for those of you watching, thank you very much for watching. And there's your little tidbit. I'm looking for a break to the upside of 140 based off of the dark pool. So that's real estate. And the other one is healthcare. Healthcare is looking pretty solid, right? Had basically this high base breakout in the weekly time frame. And let's pull up our scanner. And you'll notice the difference here. Okay, I did type it in. Okay. That for a second was tripping me out. All right, so continuing on. All right, healthcare. You see there's 3%, 3%, 13%, 12%. Those are some big print levels coming in, right? Those are some larger prints. Usually they're not that large. And this is on the 13th, 14th, 15th. And look, you see how we're up higher and prints are not coming up high. They're all right here, right? So what does that mean? So it's rallying up. That means all the buying pressure is below us and there's no selling coming in at the top. Very similar to as all of like the other tickers. Like I showed y'all XLK and SMH, XLC, industrial, so on and so forth. And they're all having prints at the top causing the pullback. Healthcare does not. We're all below it. It's just moving down a little bit with the market. then you could look to take it back up. All right, so healthcare, that's one I'm liking as well. And I'm also seeing the buying going into energy. Personally picked up some USL calls on Friday. I'm liking it as far as the setup goes. All right, so we go over here. So this is what I'm talking about. This is like more of the normal type of prints, like 0.6%, 0.7, like nothing huge, but like wham, 13. All right, that's at 83.32. If y'all have to, feel free to screenshot this and then, put them on your charts, at the price level, similar to how I do on my charts. Like that's all down here. And then there's no selling coming in at the top. Look, another one at 83.72. So that is just a whole lot of volume that is fueling this breakout to the upside, and there's no selling coming in at the top. Very similar to all the other ones I have showed you. But that's pretty much it, really. Hopefully that makes sense. I know that was kind of like quick, and I'm sure there's a lot of questions. And seriously, if you have questions, by all means, write them in the comment section. Give me some ideas on some other YouTube videos to make. And I really need to know, it's like I have contemplated for so long about making like a dark pool report or a dark pool. Like we're making these little videos like showing you where I'm seeing some prints come in, a potential setup you can take, and uh, something that you could take action on as far as knowing that the dark pool is potentially involved. If that is something you're interested in, like this video, let me know in the comments section. Otherwise, I'm not going to do it because I'm not going to think anyone's interested. There's no point in doing it if no one's interested. I mean, I could do it myself, but if there's people who are interested, by all means, I'm all for helping people. And but yeah, like the video, share it with your friends, all that cool YouTube stuff that people say. But yeah, that's pretty much it. And what I mean by examples, as far as like if people are interested in seeing when I'm seeing prints and stuff, and for those of you that are unaware, I used to trade around the dark pool a whole lot before all I started doing was 0DTE. And the reason for that is because I wanted to start taking quicker wins. But now that I have been messing with a different style of trading, I'm actually probably going to go back to trading nothing but the dark pool potentially, because it is this new way combining it together is pretty powerful. And just to see some type of like dark pool stuff I have done in the past, like I do have this like on my little channel right here. Like I spotted Elon Musk actually placing his buying his 40, I think it was 40, maybe 44 calls. And then I got into Twitter, I don't know, a week or two prior to his announcement of purchasing Twitter, and then which caused a skyrocket. Anyways, that whole breakdown is there in that video. And examples I was talking about as far as dark pool trades like this one. Like I have several things when it comes to trading the dark pool. I don't just see a print and chase. That's kind of not my thing. First, I like to know the trend, and then I like the pattern, and then I like to have prints. So like trend, an example of this would be like trend, or now I also like sector alignment. Sector alignment is a must for me because that goes to my 50, 30, 20 rule. That's something I'll talk about later, but I like to have sector and correlation too. So we have XLE getting prints, PLD is looking strong. There's also prints coming in at this zone here. And then the pattern looks like a pullback. We can wait for the breakout and play it to the upside. So I combine all of these in my dark pool stuff. And so if I don't know. I'll call it weekly for now. I doubt nightly would be a thing. But if you would like weekly dark pool videos, like I said, write in the comment section. I will put this in the tweet for all of y'all that actually said you're interested as well. Share the tweet and all that stuff too. But that is all I have for y'all. Sorry for the quick rundown, but I did want to give it out to you since there was actually interest in it. But y'all have a good rest of your weekend. Don't forget the market is closed tomorrow. And good luck next week. Take care, everybody.